Luz y progreso, paz y justicia. This is Sancista Brujo Luis. So I got this question, and I'm going to show you right here. It's by one of my subscribers, one of my followers. Her name is Simply Lucien. I'm going to post a question right here so that you guys can see it, and I'm going to answer it on this video. So the question Simply Lucien is asking if there's a specific prayer that she could use to pray to her Indio Protector, her protective Indian spirit guide, para la protección. And my answer is, well, yes, there is a prayer para el Indio Poderoso. So there is a Spanish book. It's titled La Fe en la Oración, and I'm going to show pictures right here. Very popular book in Hispanic folk magic, Hispanic brujeria, that deals with Christian folk magic right here. And so there's una oración in this book. It's titled La Oración para el Indio Protector, or Indio Poderoso, I think it is. Now, this book was published in English. It's so popular in Hispanic folk magic traditions. This book was published in English by Original Publications, and I think it's titled Helping Yourself with Selected Prayers. And in this book, there are prayers for La Madama, Los Congo, all these santos, Catholic santos. There's prayers to some of the orishas like Yemaya, Elegua, Chango. Now, in this book, whether you find it in English or in Spanish, en español, you're going to find the prayer para el Indio Poderoso, right? In English, that would be the prayer to the powerful Indian spirit guide, el Indio Poderoso. Now, like buen espiritista, I'm going to tell you, do I use these personal prayers written on a book to any spirit guide, cualquier espíritu de tu cuadro espiritual? No, I don't use none of those prayers in any of those books. Now, as an espírita, as a practitioner or someone that follows espiritismo, and being Latino, you have to know the difference between orar, rezar, hacer una plaguería, conjurar, right? Conjurar los espíritus, and they're all very different. Now, conjurar, let's talk about conjurar. Conjurar is to conjure spirits. Yo no conjuro ningún espíritu de mi cuadro espiritual. I don't conjure any spirit of my cuadro espiritual. I don't open any grimorio or any ancient text of sacred prayers and conjurings to conjure any of my espíritu de mi cuadro espiritual. So I'm going to put el conjuro to the side, and I'm going to put eso de conjurar al ladito. Now let's talk about la diferencia, the differences, at least within Hispanic cultures, between orar, right? Orar y rezar. Now, to rezar, right, is to recite a prayer to God or to la Virgencita, right? Maria. It's usually you're reciting El Padre Nuestro, and Dios te salve María, our Father, a Hail Mary. You are reciting, rezando, reciting that poem, that prayer, right? You're reciting that. It's not coming from yourself. It's coming from, something that is written on paper, and you are reciting that. Now, orar, right? Orar, even though orando y rezando are used interchangeably, they're quite different in many aspects. Orar is when you talk to your spirit guides, right? To los espíritus de tu cuadro espiritual from your heart, de tu corazón. You sit in front of your mesa, you sit in front of your santuario, you sit wherever that space is that you dedicate to your espíritu, to your ancestors, to your antepasado, to your cuadro espiritual, to your spirit guides. You sit there and you might say, or you might recite, rezar el Padre Nuestro y el Dios te salve María, depending on your tradition. But when it comes to talking to your spirits, tú vas a orar. You're going to let that prayer come from the soul, right? You're not going to recite something that's written in a book to my protective Indian guide, because that is not coming from your soul. right? It's coming from you just reciting a prayer that's written for that specific guide. So you can use that prayer if you feel comfortable, but I'm going to advise you, right, as a presidente de mesa, that when you sit down to talk to your guides, to los espíritus de tu cuadro espiritual, to esos buenos seres, protectores y guía que tú tienes, that we all have, talk to them from your heart, right? Talk to them del corazón. Just like I'm talking to you from my heart and I'm not reciting anything to you, I'm talking to you del corazón. That's the way you need to, especially when you're developing, desarrollando, desenvolviendo, disenraveling tu cuadro espiritual. It should come from a place of love and not from a place of reciting something that somebody else wrote. Que venga de tu corazón. So now, of course, I'm sure you're going to ask, well, what about los espiritistas that use los rosarios, el Padre Nuestro, and they use las oraciones escogidas de Allan Kardec when it comes to praying to los espíritus? There's a reason, there's a purpose why we do that. So when a rezadora or rezador is someone that recites los rosarios in novenas, there's a purpose why we do that. So that when the rosary is being prayed, rezado, recited, right? It's so that everyone in that room, first of all, there's got to be a purpose why we're doing el rosario. One, tiene que haber un propósito por qué se está haciendo el rosario. Two, when we recite las oraciones del rosario, it's for everyone in that place, in that room, para que estén en unión de pensamiento, right? So that everyone in that room, in that gathering is united in thought, mind, body, soul, and spirit, en unión de pensamiento. So now your second question, I'm sure, is going to be, is if I use las oraciones escogidas de Allan Kardec, the book that we use in Espiritismo, when I'm alone in front of my santuario, my mesa, my tablea espiritual. Some people call it la bóveda, tu santuario. My answer, personally, no. I rarely ever take out the book de oraciones escogidas when I'm alone with mi espíritus. I do un Padre Nuestro, un Dios te salve María, and then I talk to my guías, mi cuadro espiritual, mis seres protectores del corazón, from my heart. Now, I'm sure a few of you are going to say, wait a second, when I'm alone in mi tablea espiritual, mi mesa, mi santuario, mi bóveda, I do use la oraciones of Allan Kardec, and that is fine. I'm not saying you cannot do that, right? You can do that si te sale del corazón. I'm saying, me personally, no, I don't. Yo hago un Padre Nuestro, un Dios te salve María, y yo oro de mi corazón. The only time you will ever see me bring out las oraciones escogidas de Allan Kardec is when I do veladas, velaciones, mesa, reuniones espíritas, sesiones espíritas. Some people call it misa, right? Una misa espiritual. That is the only time that I personally use that book. The reason why we use that is for unión de pensamiento, union of thought, because when we are all praying and we're all meditating in union of thought, right, we protect ourselves, and we can protect ourselves from espíritu de baja luz, right, low vibrational light energy. We want to call esos espíritus de luz for the protection and the safety of all those who attend esa reunión, esa velada, esa velación, esa misa, esa mesa espiritual. So in that book, you're going to find oraciones para un recién fallecido, para un espíritu endurecido, para un enemigo contra los espiritistas, whatever, right? Yes, you can use those prayers at that moment if you're facing such things. But again, we use them in special reuniones espírita for that purpose, right? And also so that all the mediums can be en unión de pensamiento, in union of thought. I hope this helped. Sancita Brujo Luis, if you guys have questions, leave them above. Chao.